This is Shannonville Motorsport Park, or the birthplace of champions as it's called. My home track. This is where I made my very first pass ever, way back in the early 90s. This is where we'll put old Swamp Thing to the test and see exactly what our new mods have done. Before we could get to the fun stuff, I had to wire up the electric fan and install the overflow bottle. After this, I installed the slicks and then took it for a little test drive to see if everything was okay. Okay guys, big race day tomorrow. Do you think old Swamp Thing can run in the 12s? I don't know, we're sure going to try. The last time we went out, this thing ran a 1360. Pretty much stock other than shorty headers, 373 gears, weight reduction. Now we've got underdrive pulleys, electric fan, 1 3/4 inch long tube headers, open, tubular K-member, 9010s, coilovers, 50/50s in the rear, good setup for control arms, and even more weight reduction. So, hoping for a good showing tomorrow. So I'm just checking out the date code on these slicks. These are 20 years old. I know they say you should use slicks that are less than 2 years old, but Swamp Thing's not making a whole lot of power. Mind you, it didn't hook particularly well last time we were at the track, but we'll see how it goes. That looks better. Swamp Thing is the gift that just keeps on giving, and I got to show you what I mean here. I'm working on it for a track day tomorrow. I come around back here, I vacuumed this thing out, cut, ground, weld, put new metal in it, everything else, and I don't understand what's going on here. I don't know where this come from. But there's a dead bird carcass that fell out of somewhere. Doesn't look real fresh, so ugh. We were loaded and finally on our way. I decided to stay off Highway 401 and take some of the more scenic back roads. This allowed us to check out some beautiful little spots that we don't always get to see. Put them on back. Come on back.
There it goes again.
What's that, honey?
There it goes again.
After spending some time with my new friend, it was time to make a pass. I took the happy face they drew on the back window as a good sign. So on that first pass, I had adjusted the harness a little too tight when I was in the staging lanes, and so when I went for the 2-3 shift, I kind of figured I would miss it and wouldn't be able to reach it. So I let all the way off, got it into gear, and then let the clutch back out. And after doing that, I didn't feel super confident in the 3-4 shift, and I just kind of eased into it. So this pass resulted in a 13:30, which I wasn't all that excited about. I actually wanted to see it go a little bit faster, but it wasn't until a good friend of mine showed up that races at Shannonville all the time. He said the last time Swamp Thing had been at the track, we had a DA of about 700. So today it was 31 degrees out, and he checked the DA on his phone and we were over 2,500. I believe it was 2,550. So this may explain a little bit of it. So it looks like a mouse and her two babies jumped out of Swamp Thing after I made the first pass. And when I saw this, I must have startled her and she dropped the one baby. So I think the mouse actually just fell out of this. Well, it was here and it took off. That's so funny. Yeah. So after getting the baby back to its mama, I decided to make pass number 2. So on old Swamp Thing's second pass, everything felt pretty good. The car slowed down a tenth to 1340. So at this time I was talking to my friend Lee again, and he checked the DA and we were over 2,900. So old Swamp just seems to be slowing down because of the heat at this point. So on my way back on the return road, I noticed a pretty loud squeaking noise coming from the right rear of the car. And I figured because Swamp Thing's been sitting so long and we just started to race it and drive it a little bit, maybe one of the wheel bearings went bad. So I took it back to the pit, I jacked it up.
Oh, is it coming through? Is there more moss here? Oh, really? Oh, shit.
And I came to find out the right rear tailpipe had shifted and was rubbing on the tire. So I managed to get this into a better spot and zip tie it into place before pass number 3. So I went to the staging lanes for pass number 3, and as I got up there, the car didn't feel quite right. I went to move it and it felt like the brakes were locked up. So I had no time to do anything about that. I did my burnout, drove up to the starting line, and for the first 2 passes, I dumped the clutch at 3,000 RPM. Well, I decided I would dump the clutch at 5,000 RPM and see if the track would hold it. Dumped the clutch at 5,000, took off, car didn't feel too bad. Come out the end, and come to find out, we ran a 13.5, a tenth slower. So when I got to the return road, When I started to slow down, it really felt like the brakes were dragging, felt like something was wrong. I got back to the pits and drove up in front of the trailer, and smoke started rolling off the left front wheel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see it here, but this thing, brake caliper's hanging up on this thing. The car will barely move. So I ran a 13.5 on that pass. We're not going to beat it anymore today in this heat. We're going to put it on the trailer and go home. So that's racing. So that was the end of our racing day with old Swamp Thing, but I'm pretty impressed. On our previous track outing, we had a DA of 700 and Swamp Thing ran a best of 1360. Today he ran a best of 1330 at a 2500 DA. And by the time we got to a DA of 2900, it still ran a 1350, which is a tenth faster than its previous best in good air. So old Swamp's putting in some work. So before we left the track, I was talking with some regulars there, and they were saying that their cars are 3 to 4 tenths off their normal times. So that makes me pretty excited. I think we can get some more out of Swamp Thing. Hopefully the next track outing goes really good for us. So I had a problem with that left front caliper before. I swapped it out with a used one I've got here. I'm going to put a brand new one on it. But there may be a problem with the flex hose. It may be collapsing and causing the brake to hold on. So I'm thinking I'm going to put a brand new flex hose on it too. So September 22nd, I hope to get Swamp Thing back to the track, and we'll see what he can do. Hopefully the air is good for us. All right, so we're stuck in traffic. Looks like we just lost the alternator, and we still have about an hour to go to get home. So we'll see if we make it. Come on, old big hips. Well, the old truck made it home. So, oh, hi Bella. Bella, stop. All in all, a successful day. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye for now.